That was annoying. Alright, my apologies, everybody. Let's see, are we back in business here? It looks like it. Again, apologies, I don't like rebooting the stream like that, but if the ISP was willing to try and make some changes for a quick fix, then had to get it done here. And in theory, as of right now, it looks a lot better than what it used to. So, do apologize. I will start over because I was kind of by surprised there by the. Oh, as I say that. Right, as I say it did it again, but but oh, not what I wanted. There we go. Anyway, enough of my moaning and groaning. We got a show to do. It's music because I totally forgot I had it on. And if anything, it looks like it actually got worse. Thank goodness. Try this one more time. And I might just have to make this an offline video off stream if it keeps doing that. Yeah, this is. I'm sorry. Okay, so of course the IPL 500 just happened. What are the top 5 teams that dominated this new patch? Let's take a look at our first one here. Number 5 is going to be Aegis Toxic. The entire point of this squad is essentially just to put all your eggs into the Riplance's basket. You want to get all of your attack damage augments, heck, even Omega power augments onto this thing because it can absolutely go nuts. Pick yourself up a weapon. You have plenty of water, plenty of grass weapons to take. Preferably find a fighter one, like say the one above me here, the Nature Sword. This one will allow you to get toxic extremely quickly, just hooking it up to either your Caradulo, hook it up to your Axon, and you'll get toxic extremely quickly. Then as soon as you get Riplance, or not even Riplance, you get Riptor, you get the little guy. You bind yourself to them. The fighter plus fighter means you're going to get Berserker. You'll get Berserker level 2. And then if you want to get Berserker level 3, an easy spin is just to throw a Monkure onto it. Just get it to its middle evolution. You don't have to have it evolved all the way. Just get it to Greater Monkure and you'll have 3 Berserker. And with the Aegises that you'll eventually get, you'll start off with having the excuse me, you'll have the Archelion, or you'll have, say, maybe the Archos extremely early. If you happen to have gotten an empath or a bulwark weapon instead, there is a way that you can spin it where instead of maybe going for 3 Berserker, you can then go for early Aegis and maybe have 3 Aegis later. But either way, no matter how many Aegises you end up actually happening, you want to have your Aegis units close to the Riplance. You want to buff the Riplance as best as you possibly can. Turn it into your super carry. Just make sure you have some sort of survivability also attached to your Riplance. Going full attack, full Omega power is, of course, extremely fun. But if the Riplance gets targeted down extremely early into the fight and dies, well, you are going to be in for a world of hurt. Eventually, as the game gets a little bit later, you can, of course, get Sinal if you can get Alfie, or heck, even maybe Dual F, bring them in as well. And of course, you have plenty of areas here. You got maybe 2 slots if you're getting to level 9, or 1 more slot here if you're trying to get to level 8. That you have the potential to flex what you essentially want that last spot to be. Or you want to throw yourself another empath on there, get the 2 empath buffs plus a bunch of additional healing. You want maybe some more firepower, bring Squeeze on there. Or just go for some more water, bring the Ebb or something along those lines. Heck, give it a dive, buddy. Add another DPS unit here with like the dash, for example. It'd be very expensive to do, but you could absolutely do it. But the main gist of it being that you have all of your Aegises, you're trying to boost your Riplands as best as possible with the help, of course, of the Ranger and their Nature Sword. Number four, the fourth best team on this one is going to be Harbinger Steam. Harbinger Steam, this is kind of what it looks like. This is your core of the squad. This is more so your heavy water composition. And what you will end up seeing is you got a couple of ways that you can take this. Majority of the time, you're going into Umber as your main carry. As long as you can find the drone augments to kind of help it, get the combat rhythm, for example, with the okay, there we go again. No, this is unfortunately going to be all chopped up. I do apologize, everybody. I think I might have to cut it off here. Nothing I do today is going to end up working. I feel bad though. I genuinely. But one more time, try this. Of course, number four on the list here is the Harbinger Steam composition. Heavy water focus here with this team comp. Of course, getting the two tanks extremely early, Axon and Caradulo. You can add toxic to it extremely quickly by finding the Riptorus or maybe getting the Ranger weapon involved in this as well. But your main carry for this team is going to end up being the Umber for the most part if you're getting attack damage augments, or the Dual F if you're getting Omega Power augments. Granted, Dual F is a much more late game, much harder alluvial to actually hit. Umber is a little bit more consistent, so going towards the attack damage is probably wiser. But as the game goes on, if you do manage to level up Alfie a bunch, it'll be absolutely fantastic. You can get yourself the Mamu as well. Even just at the level, well, level 3 gives you the best bang for your buck. If you can actually get this thing to its full level, you can add Harbinger level 2, and depending on which weapon you get, for example, if you were to say, what kind of weapon are we looking at here? If you were to say run something like the Aqua Blaster, you can absolutely pair this thing up with your Axon or any of your tanks, really. Let's just say Axon, for example. You'd get yourself the third Harbinger, and then heck, if you did have it paired up with Axon, Tsunami is another opportunity that you can go for that the Aqua Blaster will help buff you with. Not a must, but it would still be very good. And then from there, you can kind of flex as per usual. You can go extremely heavy into the water. Do you want to bring in the Ebe for Tsunami with Empaths? Do you want to maybe buff it up to Geyser? You can absolutely do that if you really wanted to. A little bit expensive, but you can absolutely do it. You probably keep one of your whatever water type tier 0 is in this instance. And then just like that, you have 7 water here on the board, including your Ranger, giving you 8. And this, of course, isn't even including if you happen to get water chips on the board, then you can just get rid of the tier 0s and use something else as a water unit. Like, let's say, for example, maybe another Scion, get Squiz in there. 5 Scions is definitely the potential. Just getting Squiz onto this team, for example, all of a sudden now you have 3. You have the Ranger weapon, now that's 4. And to get that full 5 Scion buff, heck, you just need one more of anything, which could, of course, be the Pyre. And this could be what introduces your Steam. You can get whether it be Steam 2 extremely quickly or go up to Steam 3 is definitely the potential, which then also introduces another instance. What about adding Harbinger and Steam at the same time? There is absolutely one unit that can pull this off for you, and that is by getting Flare. Pair up your Aqua Blaster with a Flare, and you will get additional steam, which is just going to make your Umber that much crazier, especially early. Because let's be honest, getting Dual F is going to take you a long time, it being a tier 5 stage 3 unit. But you can still get steam early with the help of, say, Flare in your Ranger and get Steam Harbinger. That is your fourth best team currently in the last IPL in terms of popularity, in terms of usage. How about number 3? I feel like everybody kind of assumed that this team was going to show up eventually, but that is, of course, going to be Mud. Specifically, Berserker Muds. So, this is the gist of what I've been seeing. Let me kill off the weapon here for a second. There we go. This is kind of what I've been seeing for the most part. So, again, lots of tier 1 units to shoot for here with a mud composition, and this is essentially your core of the composition. You end up going for needing 3 tier 1 stage 3s. Getting that can be extremely difficult, especially since we've seen that Monk here does kind of fit into some other compositions. You're going to be fighting people for these a lot. Apon, not so much. You should be able to find Gorilla, not so much. Maybe just a couple of rogue teams kind of contesting you, but they hardly ever really push for Gorilla. So it's more so the Monk here that's going to be the problem. But what you then end up doing is, first off, early on in the game, gets Chuko or into Chikoro. This way, I believe, right off of level 2. Yeah, you don't even need to fully evolve. If you have even just Greater Gorilla and Chikoro, then you get the Predator buff on top of what you're already going for, which of course allows you for additional execution damage based off of the target's HP, helping you clean up and finish those fights early on in the early to mid game. A good thing that gets kind of splashed into here is Caradulo for a little bit of tankiness, and that is because you also want to get the Rip Lance. But why do you want to get Rip Lance here on a Mud team? First off, similar to our 5th ranked team here, you want to get the Berserker. You can get the 2 just with the Exalted Monk here, or even with just Greater Monk here, and it is actually the full Rip Lance. You'd end up getting the 2 Berserkers, but let's be honest, you're going for the Exalted. But then, of course, we haven't talked about the Ranger weapon yet, and that is kind of where things really start to get interesting. It's not really good for mud weapons, but what is very, very good is specifically this. If you can find the water fighting weapon, you bind your Ranger to the Exalted Monk Gear, or just to your Monk Gear, and that is another mud. That gives you the full 4 mud composition, so that stats get traded when your Illuvials end up falling. So you kind of get yourself a bit of a super carry. On top of that, you've added 1 more Berserker to the composition to get 3. And of course, still does allow for plenty of flexibility. If this is the core team, you can really kind of put your spin on it however you please. If you want to go for some more Earth and just essentially try to become indestructible, you can absolutely bring in Tianti, for example. You can bring in Valiant for a little bit of extra front line, and you already have the 5 mud, or not the 5 mud, the 5 Earth on top of mud, and Granite as well, becoming an absolutely tanky monstrosity. Heck, even go a step further later on, if you can happen to find the fully evolved versions, you could add the newly buffed Colossus into the mix. And then, heck, there is even the opportunity for some sort of Invoker play at the very, very end of it, if somehow Sepphoris also gets found, because you're going to be rolling for a lot of tier 1s. Like, take a look at this. There's 4, 5, 6 tier 1 units in this team composition. You're going to be rolling a lot. If you happen to hit a lot of these, of course, this is just Disneyland scenario. Obviously, not every game's going to go like this. But it's just going to show the amount of flexibility and different options that this mud composition can also go for. Heck, if you don't want to go for the expensive Titan Ore, maybe the Lalura is something that you want to end up going for, you definitely have plenty options. But the main gist of it is that your mud units are going to end up being your super carries. You're going to pick up the water fighter weapon or just any water weapon in general and link your ranger. So you have the best chance at 4 mud. It is scary trying to get the 4 mud. It's a lot of rolling right around the time of, say, that first NPC round with the Dokas. That's probably when it's going to end up coming out. But if you hit this, it is an absolute disgusting team. You don't even need these. It's just essentially this. You hit this, and you are absolutely crushing your lobby, but expect to take a beating early in the game. Right. Number 2 on the list, Arcanite Inferno, with fire being buffed in the last patch. We're starting to see a lot of it, and this is kind of what everybody's been going for. Ace has never been more popular because of being able to rush Inferno. It's absolutely insane, and you can really get flexible with it because as long as you have any fire weapon, you can pull this off. But the best one that I've been seeing to help proc the Arcanite side of things, let me find it for you, is either one, this guy, the boomerang. You get this in here and then you pair it up with the ace. You get Arcanite extremely quickly, and proc the Inferno. It'll let your Scoriox or your Furiox, whatever you happen to be, as long as it's a Furiox, you get Arcanite. So just get the middle stage evolution relatively quickly. Got that on board, and it's absolutely disgusting. The other thing as well that is a little bit of a flex, we see Railu is here and it has the Templar. We see Fur here and it has the Templar. Depending on what you happen to have leveled up, you can absolutely link your link your fire weapon to an empath, and then you have Templar now as well. You can get the 3 Templar, making your units surprisingly tanky, also doing a ton of damage. And I have, of course, the Ram Fire here as a late game super carry kind of option if your economy goes for it. But let's be honest, most of the time you're probably just going to sit on to Ram Fight. But that's not bad either. You do have the Phantom buff on top of it, so you can get into those hard to reach places without getting targeted down and blow up the competition. Yeah, just Inferno has been so good, essentially. For making a quick Inferno, though, because it does take a little while for the boomerang to kind of ramp up. So another option, of course, again, any fire weapon will trigger the Inferno, but you can also go for, say, the Scion Fire Blaster. This thing's Omega comes out extremely quickly, so when the fight starts, you essentially fire off your Omega, and now there's Inferno already triggered. And it's just, you're getting so much value so quickly. If there's one thing that this team is going to slightly have a hard time with, it is going to be survivability. Because you get the Inferno proc, but you have to keep your Inferno units alive in order for it to stay on the field. So you want to have some sort of backup here for your squad. And you do, of course, have a handful of options as per usual. And get yourself the Goliath, of course, or the Titan, or this would also help for a Magma spin on it if you really felt like it. And if, let's see, is there an Earth Scion? You absolutely could. Say if you brought Tatofi or you brought Tianti into the team as well, you would then, if you had the Fighter Gauntlet, you can bond with the Tianti, and you would end up having Arcanite Magma. And you can kind of spin it that way. And just having a bunch of different options with your squad here. It's a very flexible, very high damage, and by getting the Ranger to be the next fire unit, that does give you the new 6 fire, which is extremely powerful. Now doing a portion of max health as pure damage, and it's much, much easier to get. You're going to see this a lot. In fact, it's probably the most popular thing that we see in the ranked ladder. This is the kind of team that you're going to see a ton, and you could probably see why so much water is also being played, and heck, even mud is being played lately, and it's basically to try and counter this. But there is one team that, regardless of how often it gets nerfed, so many people are so comfortable playing this team composition, it just doesn't go away. That, of course, is our number one team in the last IPL based off of usage, and that is going to be the classic, tried and true, where'd it go? Burden Vanguard. The rogues, they cannot disappear. They're always going to be here, it feels like. And of course, this one is basically as straightforward as it gets. You get yourself the Verdant Cleaver, you get yourself a Twine just so it dies into the middle of the field, sprays its Verdant Puddle everywhere, and hope that all of your rogues then converge into the middle to kill everything off. This is going to be heavily focused, of course, on your vanguards. So your rogue ranger, by being paired up with the twine, is going to be one vanguard. Getting up to slash in, of course, is going to be your super carry of the team. It is going to be a vanguard as well. Get your Malura. I believe it's up to all the way to Malura. If you happen to get the third one, getting vanguard is just so strong. And then it's just after that, it's just a matter of filling your team with rogues. I don't care where you find it. It doesn't really matter in the end. This is kind of one that I've just sort of spun off with a little bit, but you can absolutely use different ones. With this, you would end up having the Predator buff alongside 7 rogues, 3 vanguards, and then the 1 lone bulwark. But you can absolutely try something different. Do you want to maybe take a Revenant spin on top of this? Get rid of the Gorilla and maybe go for, say, the Verminio instead. You can absolutely do that and get Revenant, a rogue Revenant Vanguard, as long as you have another rogue to kind of fill that 7th spot. But at least quickly and early on, you can rush these 7 rogues extremely quickly with the comp that it originally was. Then maybe you level up more, and then maybe you just add on the Revenant after the fact. But you have plenty of utility and plenty of damage, and with the additional healing with the ranger weapon alongside the twine and drone augments and any other augments the penguin happens to be holding, this thing is disgusting. So it's a team comp I feel like we're just never going to quite get rid of because it's always around. So with that, that is our our top 5 teams from the last IPL. I'm curious if that'll translate into the IPL 1000 coming up this weekend. And hopefully we will, or excuse me, hopefully after that I'll have some of the stats kind of broken down even more. I do want, of course, give a big thank you to those that collected the data for that in the first place, that being the back end team of the IPL, Constant Erica. Thank you so much for hooking us up there. Thulki as well, getting the job done. And anybody else I happen to have missed to be able to collect all that data. That's absolutely crazy. So thank you for doing so. And we'll see you maybe next week with another update. All right. Not gonna lie, my energy's a little bit messed up because I'm worried about the internet still, but it looks like it's holding on for now. And with that, we have about an hour or so left of play. The ranked ladder resets at the end of the day. I think I'm going to take one final push here, see what I can do. Get a couple rounds in. It's been a while since I had the opportunity to truly sit down and play. Maybe played a couple of rounds a few days ago, but it was more so for content, and I was trying out different compositions. Tanked my rating a ton, but I still have the screenshot of getting up to 1,600 earlier. That's a slight, small victory for me. And thank you to everybody for sticking around here. I apologize for the disconnect and whatnot earlier on. Tale as old as time here that I'm having the internet struggles, and I'm not gonna lie, it still has me a little bit nervous, but until it goes down, we'll try to have a good time here. I just hope it gets fixed up by Friday when the technician comes in, because I'd be very, very upset if the IPL 1000 rolls around. I'm trying to cast this thing, and you're hearing me like this. That would be brutal. Of course, I did kind of touch on it in the beginning of the first stream, but I do also want to give a big thank you to everybody who's left their feedback, sent me messages, made comments in regards to the Illuvium story video that I had posted on YouTube not too long ago, just I think 2 days ago. It's awesome that a lot of people are relating to it and like feeling attached to it and was getting invested with the storytelling, and I'm extremely happy and very, very pleasantly surprised with the reception it's gotten. And I'm sure it'll be something that I do again sometime soon. Just need the right story to tell. Alright, let's go. Classic, it would not be a morning of myself getting the play if I don't run into Warrior Ace. I swear this must be their time slot. Brightland steps, so we've got plenty of time to figure something out. Of course, as well, I swear between Kieran and the social media intern there at Illuvium, they're having a war of leaks or war of reveals in regards to the MMO. And I'm extremely excited for it. Do not get me wrong, but one thing that does have me feeling a little bit uneasy, not because it doesn't look good, but it's because it's everything that I've not really played with before. I'm not necessarily familiar with it. For the healing side of things, I actually have to aim. I'm used to tab targeting with my MMOs, whether it be World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy, where I'm just tabbing on through or hitting like F1 to, say, F8 or something to find my teammate in particular. I'm not used to having to aim at them. There's a reason I never played Ana in Overwatch. I'm not used to actually aiming, so I might actually be exposed a little bit here and underperform. So that's not a problem with the game. No, that's just something I'm going to have to get used to. I look forward to it still, but that does make me nervous. Synergy crate so early in this one does make things interesting. Let me get my engine. I'm not gonna lie, with this setup as of right now, to me this is screaming Scion. But to be fair, most compositions for me scream Scion. Snuggle. It'll really depend what kind of item we end up finding with, or not item, but what kind of weapon we end up finding here in the next couple of moments. If I happen to find the water Scion weapon, I think I just might go nuts with Bulwark Harbinger Scion. Especially since it's Brightland Steps as well. An expensive team or a hard-to-get team like that is a little bit safer to reach compared to trying to do that on, like, Crimson Waste or something. Maybe even Steamy Harbinger? Might be a way to go, but I have to actually get there first. Let's see. No thank you. No thank you. Okay, we do find the water one at least. I'm gonna use the water bulwark. Instance, level on up. So let's see. If I were to do this properly based off of what people do... Oh, it's not going to let me. I don't know what I did wrong there, but I'm going to have a random alluvial thrown on here because I absolutely potatoed my alluvial control. So heavy water is what I'm going to be looking for. Whether that turns into just being Scion-based or whether that turns into Steam, we'll have to see. I mean, that looked like a good fight, but again, because I tried to do the cheekiness with the synergy crate, I end up blowing a tire of sorts. The water imprint is exactly what I'm looking for. There we go. And a bulwark as well. Let's bring you by here. This gives me 4 very, very quickly. Let's make you a 1 as well. Synergy is going to get me actually the 5th bulwark already. This works all right. I stopped trying to get fancy and just start playing, and I end up doing all right. So 5 bulwarks already here at level 5, or round 5 rather. I did not take the ranger being a rogue into account, so my poor little Totofi is going to take a beating. But thankfully, with the reflective damage from the bulwarks early on in this, we should be a-okay. Not bad. The Lynx is also water. All right. I see you. Instead of having Totofi in here, I'm going to put Archos in. Give you all of the augments. And just make an absolute obnoxious, unkillable squad. Get the heal on. There we go. Yeah, just be straight up annoying in this instance for now. An Aegis-based team as well, since I do have the Bulwark water weapon, is also in the cards. But the main idea is that we have plenty and plenty of options. Lynx check. How many of y'all have them? Nobody? I like the sound of that. I'll see what the Dokas drop us, and then we'll go to the draft deck, and then after that, I think y'all know what's coming. Check that out in a second. Multiple Riptors showing up here on this draft deck is quite nice. The Penguin, too. I mean, the Penguin could absolutely show up in a water composition. Slooper is 100% going to snag that, fair enough. But what if I snag the other that actually has the augment that I would want? There we go. Beautiful. Excuse me. Of course, before I do end up going crazy on rolling, I'm gonna wait to hit level 5. Let's get that done. Bring you on. What is this, Brawler? Okay, with the sustain. And gets the clumsy. 1, 2. And rolling time. Hello, beautiful. Can we find your friends? There is a you. Quickly. Am I gonna be too slow? Oh, yeah, I was too slow. Unfortunate. And hello, beautiful. There you are. Alright. So our mid-game is nice and safe at this point here now. This, of course, is a rogue Lynx, so got plenty of firepower on this. And it looks like the team is doing all right. This isn't a one-sided fight by any means, but it does look good. While I'm not necessarily using Scions yet, I will keep Tianti just in case I happen to need it. Let's see, Toxic Aegis with, instead of Riptor, give it to Lynx. Let's turn you into an absolute crackhead. Don't want you too far away, but at the same time, I want to make sure that the buff actually goes into my Lynx. Alright, Slooper. Meet my dear beautiful Lynx as it immediately just chops through the first tank. And yeah, this is going to be a fun time for a little bit, I'm not going to lie. Just getting the stage 3 Lynx is already crazy enough, but to have Aegis buffs into it as well, with sustain, snowballing attack speed, I'm going to have a great time. While this is happening, this is going to give me some time to build up at least a little bit of an economy, and I want to get to level 7 sooner rather than later, because if I want to get additional Aegis, I do need to get Blotto. So that is going to be Hetty's evolution. I need to get that. And then, eventually, I still do want to see if I can snag Riptorus on here, even as just another Toxic applier. Even if it doesn't end up necessarily being my super carry. A little bit of a rough spot for my Lynx to land, but again, because it has that augment on top of it, that gives it healing every time it gets an elimination. I could throw it into riskier places and still be nice and safe. Bulwarks are holding the line quite nicely as well. We're not really losing anybody. Archo is keeping everybody topped off nicely. So far, so good. We're cruising here in this one. Oh, the Water Blaster is here, but I'm honestly very content with where I'm at right now. I want to get even more sustain. I'm going to make it so that it heals. Riptorus is here. And I can even just level up. Get my chances at finding more stage, or not tier, stage 3s, tier 3s. Better chances at finding some of them. Put you on the board. We have an Emberling Rod user this time, so we are going to spread out a little bit and see if maybe this first initial cast that comes out, if I can at least maybe solo tank 1 or 2 shots of it. Yeah, I think Caradulo just ended up taking it himself, so this is the best case scenario. Caradulo, you're maybe getting a lot of heat, you might end up going down, but you're doing exactly what I need you to do. Thank you. Now it's just a matter for my Lynx to actually get into the battle. It's kind of rooted up, so it's kind of stuck. But as soon as it does, it's going to absolutely chop them down. Emberling this close is always extremely scary, but everybody was nice and healthy. Because we're 5 Bulwark, the Resistances isn't necessarily a bad idea, but I like battle momentum as well. I kind of think momentum will end up being the one we'll go for. Riptor, hello. Come on down. Maybe I just replace Groko for Flare? But then I would be going for Steam, which would be a little bit different. To be fair, Groko's doing just fine. I think I have plenty of damage already. I might just save the credits. If I did have the Scion variant, this Aqua Blaster, I could very well have gone for Steam. But I think I'm actually not doing Steam this time. This is going to end up being the Toxic Aegis with a little bit of Lynx Firepower. Okay, let's snuggle in a little bit, but without spreading the Aegis to people I don't, or to Illuvials that I don't want to get it. Let's see, I'm just going to give the health to the Lynx, unless I get something good here. I absolutely do. Then let's give it... Oh no, let's give it to Caradulo, because they're going to be the one jumped on in this instance. Riptor, you take care of the Ranger. You might end up going down. It might be a bit of a greedy play here, but let's see how well you can hold the line. Yeah, we're doing quite nicely here. This is beautiful. Untargetable, doesn't matter. I have a triple chop. There we go. I will say, at least in terms of the Illuvials as a whole, I feel like every composition is my favorite composition at this point here. It's probably a running meme at this point. But in terms of the playstyle of Water and Toxic, I think those are my favorites in terms of playstyle, if that makes sense. So playing this feels right at home, and I absolutely love it. Going into the MMO, when I had heard that like certain playstyles are going to essentially be locked behind certain affinities, it looks like Water and Toxic as a support healer is kind of the way that I'm going to be going anyway. So I'm happy and enjoy this, or I'm very happy that that is the case because I enjoy this playstyle anyway. Dominic with the Kukaraf, though, is doing a pretty decent job here to my squad. But now that everybody gets to converge onto it, and your air means nothing to me, let's watch how quickly we cook this turkey. I mean, I think held its own, I'm not gonna lie, but we take it. Some fully combined augments here on the draft deck. The immune one on the dash might not be a bad idea. I'm always down to take tank augment as well. Maybe even an Omega Power one here onto that Mammoth. Or just take the Ebe for the sake of easier evolution later. I think I shall because the Riptor got picked up, so I will take Ebe. From there, there's another little Riptor. I'll take him. And then just take my time. So this is stealing resist. No, this is for shielding. Okay. Give that to Riptor. This squad looks a little bit scary. That is a Periox over there in the back. Is this the Inferno style? They're looking for it, but they got 6. But my team, my damage is super effective. Let's see how this goes. That Periox is gone. Riptor is even getting involved. Taking the long way around. There's enough firepower to shred through some of my tanks, but the ones that actually matter are still safe and alive. A nice little last-second shield there coming out from the Ace, but it will not be enough. So far on absolute cruise control, just building up my economy. I would love to be able to make it all the way to 70 and then start leveling. But if a tough opponent does show up that I'm a little nervous about, I may have to level. Warrior Ace, of course, fantastic player in their own right, don't get me wrong, but I think that I can take this as is. I'm not too concerned about leveling up Archie any further, so I'm going to just leave it there on the bench. As much as I want to roll for things, as much as I want to find new Illuvials, I'm going to try my damnedest here to just be patient, play the long game, especially here on Brightland Steps where I can get away with it. Penguin, eat that penguin. There we go, just like the intro screen. Let's go. And then there we go. Yeah, this is just so strong, even though I'm a level down right there. And Warrior Ace's squad isn't even bad by any means. Got the Vanguard already. Doesn't have 7 Rogue, which is a little bit unfortunate, but having Vanguard already and still being able to just chop through them like that was definitely satisfying. Alright, we've made it to 70. There is a Heady. And I'm just going to spend my access credits onto leveling. Just stay above 70. And I am just going to slow ball this thing. Like I was saying before, right? Don't need to rush anything. Just be patient. Health is a resource, and you have plenty of it. On a 10-win streak right now here with this team. And what did we get in terms of synergy? That is going to be another these. Just adding maybe another bulwark in this instance is probably the way to go. In terms of my weapon buff, I like the AoE. Bulwark for some additional bulwark will be nice. Let's give that to Riptors, actually. Give you the attack augment. And now let's go up to level 7. I am going to drop an Ebe here in just a moment's time. This will get me the 6 waters and get a big ol' buff in terms of my water, my water synergy. And then Slooper, yeah, heads up, I'm coming right for your Ranger. I'm not gonna let it shoot very long. Gonna get one shot off. That's a lot of damage done to it, to be fair. But because I'm not being targeted, I am gonna be able to just keep healing up, it looks like, here very, very nicely. Shot after shot comes on through, even tanking the Fleesh Laser. But now, of course, gotta deal with this gosh dang Umber. And unfortunately for me, that did not go according to plan. I needed that Omega to go into this Umber. But we're gonna get away with it. But by no means was that free. Okay, energy costs on Omega. Honestly, considering I'm going for water, that's kind of disgusting. Omnivamp, though. I like Omnivamp. We'll go for that. Do I want to bring in a Revenant? I don't see how I would necessarily really be able to spin off that. I think I'm just going to knock down my health a little bit more here. The last minute move on the Polar Bear was nice, though, so I'm going to have to deal with both a Riptorus and a Jokul. Actually, no, never mind. They went for the tanks, so my Lynx does manage to just go for the one at a time. Can we get one more in there? We will. Give me some more damage. Gonna get turned on. Good shot there onto the Jokul. No, the Lynx is gonna finally fall. We can absolutely potentially lose this one. Riptorus is in the driver's seat, though, in terms of damage. Good stun from the Groko. I'm glad I didn't trade you for Flare. You came in clutch, keeping that Polar Bear occupied. Beautiful. What do we have in terms of Headies? Has nobody been going for Heady? Interesting. So that is going to be Crunk onto the field. I will use my remaining credits here to get me to level 8. Excuse me, sorry. I'm actually going to put... Let me move my guys here. Do that. Like that. I am going to put my Doka on the board to give Riptors a little buff. And I might here at level 8, where the chance is about 34% for tier 3, 35 for tier 4. If there's any chance that I want to try and level up my Crunk into a Blotto, or my Flood into a... or rather, my Eve into a Flood, this would be the time to do it, and it looks like people are actually starting to catch up in terms of firepower. My Lynx died extremely quickly here into this one, to the point where I think we're actually going to end up losing this. The one strength isn't going to last forever, and that is ALK. It just means it's time for me to hit the gas. And Riptors, and then actually even Alfie's coming out to play. There's Hetty. There he is again. Squiz is here too, though. I am torn. I can absolutely do, for this one at least. Fire Alfie over here as my 7th one. It's a little bit better than a Doka in terms of firepower, at least. See if we can... Oh, it's not going to get a shot off. But at least it was a target for the gorilla to go after that wasn't my Lynx. Holding the line here so far rather nicely. Thankfully, my Lynx is a fantastic tanky carry. Same thing here with Riptorus, who's getting involved beautifully. Gonna end up kind of freezing because I'm not sure exactly what I would want to do. Might get a second chance here, but I am leading this lobby, so I do get last pick. If going for Alfie or going for Squeeze is on the menu, I do need one of these yellow augments. I would have been very surprised to see Squeeze actually make it on through. I'll just take Atlas, it doesn't matter. It would have been that or the Kara Blue. Each sell for 1 coin anyway. Okay, why am I clicking onto my Lynx? That was scary. I almost sold the thing. That would have been heartbreaking. You come back here. Give you this. Do a little roll. 1, 2, and then I'll pause there. I'm just going to keep trying to maximize my credits as best as I can here. I'll just keep dash on the board. I'm curious about something. Resistances and shields. I will take that from my tanks. Let's see. I want another shield crate. Holostasis, yes please. Let's get my tanks all loaded up and ready to go. They're looking good now. Let's make sure I'm not touching the Aegis units. Should probably have this instead. No, you can keep that. You have an Octius, eh? Okay. And while things are battling on out, yes, my Alfie is kind of exposed, but they're not the main concern here with this composition as of this moment. Yet it still finds a pretty decent shot there. Nicely done there, Alfie. And we be crushing. slowly going to roll, but not too far. Unfortunate that I rolled a little bit too close to the buzzer. Definitely a mistake. There is a certain point where you should absolutely just stop and wait for the next round. I definitely hit that. I definitely passed that, but yet still kept going. I'm gonna get punished there for 2 coins for that greedy roll. There is Hetty again. There's Riptor. And hello. Beautiful. It might not necessarily be the Lynx, but this is still just as terrifying now, when I think. So with Riplance here on the board, I have the question at hand, where do I stop all-inning my Lynx as the DPS of the team? Considering they just got melted, I think that might be the case. I think they've not overstayed their welcome, but their use has been greatly appreciated, but they can take a bit of a breather of sorts. Riplance is still just going to absolutely tear through here. He's still sustaining thanks to the Omnivamp on the drone augments. All right. Oh my goodness. Okay. Give you this. Give you this. Let's give you the snowball effect even further. You can have the one where the shield. That's actually no. Let's give that to Blotto. 1, 2, 3. Snuggle me. Something like this. This should turn into an absolute crackhead Riplance. Let's see how this guy goes. It's got so much damage, so much augments, and in theory, so much sustain. Can you get out of the way of the ramp fight, though? Yes, you absolutely can, as everybody else is just going to melt. That is what I like to see. So by finding Riplance and Blotto, this absolutely makes things crazy. Finding the Rake as well, kinda nuts. So I am going to now use my additional credits past 70 to slowly level to 9. I'm not gonna rush, I'm not gonna roll. I'm gonna hit level 9, and then the next thing I think I start looking to level is my Alfie. There is an Umber over there, so I am going to tuck in on the other side as he moves it over. Slooper, unfortunately, making the right call, granted, even though they're going up against me as a ghost. Blood doing a good job of holding the line until all of a sudden my Alfie just pops out of nowhere. Decent amount of damage being done to Riplance, but it is being healed up rather quickly. Now onto their Sinolf. It is going to be a one-on-one, or down to this Umber, down to the Ranger as well. Riplance, can you get there? No, you cannot, and that is exactly why these Umbers are so damn crazy. And never truly be comfortable when they're the last one alive. Now I have a Sinolf for myself. Move him a little bit away from the corner. I want him to still be in range of the Archos heal. Just not in range to get the Aegis buff. And if there is one thing that's on my wish list in regards to the Aegis buff in particular, I would love for there being a little glowing orange or a glowing yellow ring to symbolize which units are being buffed by Aegis, at least in the setup phase. Because there's been many times when I use Aegis. I know personally, as much as I love the playstyle, sometimes I try to avoid it when I'm maybe not necessarily feeling 100%. Because I screw things up. Like, say, what if I just gave Aegis to my Groko? That wouldn't have been good. Okay, with so much cash here. Let's move on into level 9. There we go. Let's give Sinolf some magic damage. Let's move the engine from Archos to Sinolf. I've got this augment here for regenerating health. I think we're going to have to do that. Doing this. Give you the shield. Give you the attack damage. Snuggle down here. This way, in theory, I have a better chance of having a Sinolf beam go towards that Jokul. It might not this time, but it's still going to go through so many. Love to see that one. Lynx is going to fall, but in theory, Riplance has that. I still got to watch out for the Jokul, or the Jotun now, in this instance, but look at my Blotto. It's so healthy, it's so strong. And it is going to hold the line, actually, with my Ranger. And there we go. Big damage. What do I even want right now in this instance? How do I throw this game away? When I lost the last time, it was because of a number. I think I know my answer. Scarabok might be a nice little introduction to the team for a little bit of tankiness. But it also grants me this augment here for the additional healing. Put you over here. I don't want you to die immediately. Groko, you've probably done your best, and thank you for your service, but it's going to now be Scarabok moving on forward. I'd rather have the mitigation right now. Like maybe even trading Archos for... Oh no, I can't trade Archos. I need that for the Aegis. That is a nasty Rampfire right in the middle of my squad. I did not even notice. This is going to be punishing. Never mind, it tickled. Okay. I was kind of nervous there for a second. And then we just wrecked. Alright. An extended series. Me versus Slooper. Okay, then. We're both in a very similar scenario here, it looks. Is there any way that I can tackle Umber quickly? That's the question. Shout out to Slooper too. I think they're streaming right now. The last minute move there onto the Umber as well. Going to go right towards my Flood, which I'm okay with, but the Omega is still going to hurt. What does he have for drone augments? He has combat rhythm. That's what I was worried about, and he has the one for tier 4s. But yeah, this is set up perfectly to become the unstoppable Umber. As long as we set up our Omegas properly, there we go. We have enough to burst it. The Slooper really needs to get rid of my squad faster than that. More Illuvials need to have fallen. The thing is, I still can't be too calm about this because it's Brightland Steps and because round 35 is absolutely around the corner and potentially to come on through. You can easily take like 70 damage in a round. There we go. This is exactly who I want tanking the Umber. And Sinolf, blast on through. The target's a little bit off, though. My Rip Lance nearly went down. That the Untargetable's coming in very, very clutch there for his Umber. Lynx, 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 can you get him? Get him, get him, get him, get him, get him! Oh, we actually did. But I don't know if that's going to be enough. It's down to Blotto versus 3, and that's a lot of damage. Slooper will get this one. Need to... I'm not actually going to do it, but quickly, stream peek Slooper, see how much credits he has. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not actually going to do it. Nobody actually tell me either. I'll do that. This might be stupid, but hear me out for a minute. Let's see. Load up on credits here. Let's see how close we can get to level 10 off of this. Okay, let's do it. Very close, actually. Mega power. All the damage belong to you. 2. Go. Percent health. Lynx. You are inadvertently now a tank. Go there, you go there, that's fine. They found the dual F, which is kind of terrifying, alongside the damn Octius. I'm moving Sinolf much further down, with the hopes that it's going right towards dual F. A good shot, it's onto the, why do I always lose that one? The Aphisto. They found a lot of the units they were looking for, and that is brutal stuff coming out here from Slooper. Okay. Level 10 is here. What are my answers versus this thing? I think I'm just going to be kind of randomly scrambling. Ay. Might just to get the buff. Bring you there. Bring you there, and switch you back here. You're literally just there to give me the Scion buff. And I left my Sinolf wide open. That's terrible. Absolute spaghetti lord. Yep, I deserve to lose that one. But here's the funny thing. It's round 35. I can kill him right now. Let's see what we can find. Oh, fuck. Going right up against the Titanar. One last shot here. Let's see how this goes. Of course, Riplance is going to go run for the hills. And I lose a lot of them, but Sinolf is still alive. Never mind. Nope, this is Sloopers. GG Slooper! Only 9 points for second? Man. That is one thing that's killing me lately. When I was doing a couple of games earlier this week for the sake of content, I would get 5th and lose 19 points. Then I get 2nd and get 9. Oh, good on Slooper, though. That was a scary squad. The fact that we were kind of both going for some Scions near the end there, and they had basically everything that I wanted, but stronger, is where they definitely bit me this time. Maybe I stayed a little bit too long on my coins. But it's fun. Good one. Got enough time for one more here, especially since I had the lag spikes that kind of wrecked the early portion of the stream, delayed things a little bit, so I can do one more. One more to make up for it. Yeah, that was basically Toxic Aegis in a nutshell. We saw how good it was versus the fire teams. It absolutely melted them away. Evaporated them, one can say. But as soon as I found another water team that had a little bit more in terms of firepower, I definitely got ousted. The Titan Ore I feel like was a good idea, but I did not position it properly. I think the Umber in that fight went towards the Archos immediately. So Titan Ore is just kind of sitting there, and then again, as soon as Umber pops its smoke screen and causes the retargeting, if Riplance actually stayed on Umber, that'd have been huge, but it found another target to go towards, it walked into the dual F-beam, and it was curtains from there. Slooper, good games, mate. That was a good one. Did you? You did raid. Hello, hello, welcome. Welcome, everybody. And yes, Slooper, you absolutely killed it, mate. That was a great game. I had all the girls in the world. Nope, don't tell my wife that. No, I had all the gold in the world. Had the levels. But you had the firepower. Nicely done. But this is odd. Normally I don't get rated, but I do of course want to give a big ol' welcome to everybody joining us here. My name's Silent, and I have been focusing on Illuvium as my main source of content creation since starting basically about, say, 3 months ago. Granted, I've been a commentator for a long time. I've done a lot of college esports stream production, and was a commentator as well during my time there. And with that, I've been able to kind of translate my love for storytelling, my love for casting into Illuvium, and you've probably seen me on the Illuvium Pro League a couple times there as well. So, welcome. Thank you for joining me. I do tend to take my matches here serious, but I want to make sure that I'm talking to you. I want to make sure that I'm also having fun as I'm playing these games as well. So I don't try hard. Super try hard per se. I'm probably a little bit more lax than some streamers, some professionals, but I like to yap, as you can probably tell. And thank you everybody for the new follows as well, joining on with the squad here. Big thank you to all of you. Absolutely happy to have you all here. Another way that you might have seen me also recently, I did try something on YouTube in terms of a video concept. I tried my first Illuvium story, where I kind of took the idea of a ranked match, but then just told it as a story instead of a guide. Or kind of like a fan fiction, I think somebody had called it before. And it was an experiment, but it was very positively received. So if you're into the entertainment side of Illuvium, not so much the crypto side, don't ask me about crypto. I do not care in the slightest. I'm not here for crypto. I don't care about Web3. I just love the game. I want to see what happens with Web3, don't get me wrong. I think it's cool and it's a nice experiment, but that's not why I'm here, if that makes sense. In terms of the lobby, it looks like we have, in fact, I think they were just here in Twitch not too long ago. Drudo, hello. Good to see ya. We've got Moo here as well. Of course, I'm not going to be playing any differently if anyone is watching the stream at the same time as playing up against me. It is what it is. It's just good to see ya. We got a lot of Omega fragments now, don't we? I need something that can utilize this, I feel like, a little bit better than this. Okay, can I keep Felicia safe over here? That actually worked out. Didn't end up going, or the Valente didn't end up going after the Fleesh. And this laser is going to go into the tank and into the Ranger, so not bad. Valente does not get its second shot off, so that's a bonus, but I am going to end up dying here. Yeah. And with this being Halcyon C, this does kind of make me happy. The free shop reroll each round. I have one time in particular that I tend to do it more than others. Let's just know how it goes when we get there. I think I see my weapon of choice as my friends are coming back to me. Here we go. Let us go. I mean, I don't have a very good utilizer of all of this Omega power right now. Do some this and get a very, very quick 3 fire. See if we can just burn it down, literally. In regards to the rest of the team compositions going on through here, there are 2 other people utilizing the air weapons. A couple people have at least tier or stage 1s of some of the units I would want, but nobody's really evolving anything just yet. And I do not Earth, not Fortress, Speed. The Lynx is a nature rogue, which is quite nice. In fact, I'm going to get rid of Felicia. Give you those. Move my Lynx away so it hopefully doesn't get bopped by anybody early on here in this fight. And with so much Omega power, these chops should be pretty ridiculous. Nearly taking down the Caribou. But we're looking pretty good here. Unfortunately, they're from Spaz. It doesn't look like they've actually connected yet, so hate to see that. Hopefully they can get back into this game. Hey, Tiru, or Tiruo, welcome. This worked before, so I'm going to pick it up, even though it doesn't necessarily make sense. Trudeau has quite the corner. That is a scary corner at that. I'm going to take the guess that they have enough to actually hold me off here. The Groko is going to take some damage. It is going to get the stun off. But can the rest of my units burn through? Actually, this isn't looking terrible. Good shot from the TNT, though. We have the numbers, but we don't have the health bars, and that's what I was worried about. But barely. We're going to be able to snag that. I figured it was going to come down to a very, very close situation where my group was going to swarm on top of the Tianti, and Tianti would pop and destroy my units. Alright, Doka time. Alright. After the draft deck, we're going to have some fun. Excuse me, sorry. Item-wise, what do we get? We got some tankiness. A little bit of damage on top of that as well. I could play greedy, as always. I am not leading this lobby, but pretty damn close. There's one thing here that I want. But am I actually going to be able to get it? I don't think so. We'll have to see in just a moment's time. Wasn't that? It is you, Birdo. Puka, you were the one that I was looking for. Alright, as per usual, we're going to get here level up to 5. Newly found Axon can come to the field. We are going to search for all of my tier 1 friends here. Archos is going to join. Lynx, hello there. Almost out of credits. Hello, beautiful. Give you the snowball. I probably should have just given that to Axon, but it is what it is there. Kuka, you can join the club here. Another Rye, another Rye. And then hopefully I win this thing so I can just not lock my shop. You got this, right, Lynx? Right, Lou? That's what I thought. Good job, guys. Okay. This here, Behemoth is nearby. Let's give this to Axon for now. So I continue my search. Slowly proceeding towards Shock. That is going to be the plan here this time. Optimally, I get a fire imprint to give to my Lynx. Because you're going for Shock, but you just rushed a Flora Lynx. How does that make any sense? Here's the thing. I have a Lynx problem. If there's a Lynx in the game, I pick the Lynx unless it's just unreasonable to roll for. Every single time. Does it make sense for my team composition to have a Flora Lynx right now? No, not in the slightest. Do I want it? Yes. Every single time. So, optimally I find myself an imprint, give that imprint over to the Lynx. Golden from there. This one we can go a little bit. Unfortunately for poor Spaz, still having a hard time here connecting. Problem there. I am now 1 away from securing Shock. What is Moo up to here? I do see they have Railu. One little Rai on the bench as well. But my chances are still not bad. Androa. Thank you. I appreciate that very, very much. I thank you for tuning in. Let's see if this can be the one. We are going to go option for weapons. No thank you. Omnivamp on Omega. Maybe? Execution. We're going for that instead. Alright, friends. Where are ya? Okay, there's the one Shock. So we have Shock now on the table. Got a Rai sitting here as well. Just gotta win this round. But I think I can do so. I think so. Maybe even just as is here. Let's give it a shot. Of course, relying heavily on the floor Lynx, but at least now I've got a little bit of shock to kind of make things interesting. They do have a very, very scary squad, but I just took out the one thing that held all their augments, and I can heal on takedown. Definitely not a perfect fight. In fact, it's extremely close. That stun from the Kuka made it extremely close. Oh, man. Okay, I'm actually going to end up losing that. Lock the shop real fast. I don't know if I got there. Oh, bingo. I was exactly looking for that. Okay, there we go. Not lock the shop again. Don't be a dingus. Okay. The Omega Power over time. I'll just move over for now. There's going to be somebody later that we use for that instead. Rai, are you around here, buddy? No, but Kuka is. Hello, Kuka. And then after these wild beasts here, these wild tanks, we'll have a little bit more credits on the board. See if we could finish off our squad here. See what kind of items we get here. Tank alongside energy, so my god, do I ever have a lot of firepower in terms of energy. If I were able to find Squiz, I would be in a beautiful position. Of course, unlikely right now, it's a 1% chance to actually happen. Bry is here. So now I will level up. That's now 3 shocks on the board. That's for Shock Berserker. Is this potato mode? Nope, this is just my computer. Not exactly the best in terms of quality, but try my damnedest nonetheless. On hitting level 6 here, I'm going to take a look and see who else is running Kurdos, and it looks like Moo is going to as well, so I'm not going to worry too much about it, to be completely honest with you. I'll be able to crush on through. Just a matter of waiting for that untargetable to go away, and there we go. Looking good. Double check the graphics settings, actually. I have things on low, but it's not on potato mode. Axe, what am I using? That's actually not bad considering the weapon I have, I think. Yeah, we're gonna roll with it. Okay, so now, Axon tanks. Kroko tanks. Kukalus, you're the quarterback of the squad. You let us know where to go. Alright, Lee. Off to the left-hand side, ready to rock. And then, as always, TB Ruko, my favorite meat shield. Just do your thing. In this instance here, since of course the change to shock hits the things that are the furthest away from the shock units, which means by moving TB Ruko over there, it's actually the Riptorus getting hit here, is the thing that I was looking for. Rushed. Watch the content on YouTube. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. A little bit of lagging for me. There is the potential that I am having some lag spike issues. Earlier on the stream, I was having some struggles with my ISP. So maybe it's still kind of lingering around. But it hasn't done it in a while here. My drop frames look pretty nice, so it is something I will keep in mind, but I'm not sure if there's much that I can really do for now in that regards. Riptorus has been picked up there, but max, and that is the icing on the cake, the 5% chance to find it. And we nail it. All right, beautiful. Kukalus, you can take a break for a minute. Let's now take this squiz, load this thing up devastatingly. Put you in the corner. give you hack speed. 4 shock already here at round 15. Let it rain on down every 4 seconds. I missed that third lightning bolt, but at least it's coming down a little bit quicker. I'm not gonna lie, Judo, that's a pretty strong squad. S-Force had me scared, but the shock is raining down nicely. Next goal for me personally, hit the next level as soon as I can, get some more fire units onto the board. It's had another squiz. That is actually ridiculous. Okay, so Rogues, I'll move you up. Riley, you're going to kind of be the tank alongside the Axon. In case of any sort of rogue interference, do something like that. I mean, that's a lot of damage on this team, but at the same time, we're bringing the heat as well. But I cannot sleep on the Umber until it's finally taken down. Nimble Lynx, you got him. There we go. Perfect. Got the start that we were looking for. There's still room for improvement. In fact, I'm going to pick Chuko up just for a moment. Low-key, one of the most satisfying things in Illuvium. When you do quite well, and then you see the person's drone hover over to one of your Illuvials, because they're trying to see what the heck they just got hit with. That's pretty satisfying. One unit that's also kind of a new friend for me here now is Ramphy. After the incredible battle from a couple days ago that I had turned into that Illuvium tail, got a little bit more of a soft spot there for Ramphy after having initially a hard time with using them. Finding them as well so early here into this game is pretty surprising, but I'll gladly accept. On Omega, untargetable for a little bit of last-second clutch-up moments. Axon, your ability comes out quickly. Let's give you this. Give you the tank augments as well. Someone struck. Give damage back. What I'm actually debating on doing here is taking Axon off. Let's actually just give this to Riley instead. And they're going to be weaker units compared to some. But Kyrie, come on out. Ramphy, come on out. 6 fire, 4 shock. Locked and loaded with a little bit of air as well. And with that new support augment that I did just end up picking up, every single time Riley uses their Omega, it's going to drain some of the energy away from the other team's Illuvials. And that Omega there from Riley, it comes out extremely quick. And that was actually extremely scary. That was Moo, that was the lobby leader on a win streak. And I was able to shut him down. Water Imprint is not what I'm looking for. The damage amp might be nice, but the Omni Vamp I kind of like a little bit more, not gonna lie. Next up on the upgrade list, what should I be looking for? I mean, Fury up to Furiox would absolutely be a blessing. Not bye. Squiz is a little bit far away. Ramphy could go launch themselves into the Fur Knight, that's fine. It's just gonna let my actual carries do the work here. Oh, it's going to be a close one, though. My Lynx is being targeted quite nicely, quite quickly. Ranger hops on in with the untargetable. One more Rampy shot. It's out of range, though, so we will get taken down here. Rubik, one of these players that are constantly a thorn in my side. But in a good way, though, by all means. Arcanite Shock. Shockanite? Through. How much to level? A little bit more, huh? Okay. Rampy can still go pole vault. Bruto incoming. I lied. I'm gonna move Rampy over to the side. It looks like they had that bunkered off pretty well nicely, so Rampy can go play here with Lynx. Might get shot down before it comes out anyway, but that's alright. Lynx, give me some of those health resets, why don't we? We'll end up going down, but I still got the Shotgunite combo here of my Ranger, Gyriox, and Squiz. Do some serious work here. And Octius has arrived. Alright, beautiful. I'm still not within range to level. One thing that'll wreck me in this team fight is going to be longer engagements, if I do think so. Give some room for Riley to come on out here, but at the same time, Familiar might jump on in here. This could be problematic. Moose squad was already pretty terrifying, and that's a very, very awkward spot here. It's got Omega Power too. It might do some decent damage. That is kind of scary. That's a major yikes. But maybe, just maybe, the rest of the squad can pull through here for me. Oh, it's close. But we still have some shock helping us out. Barely. Barely gonna survive that one. Next draft deck. I see two options that would not be a bad option by any means. I'd say two good options and four not bad options. Go, got the Rampy. As I say, it's going to be either that or a Scarebok. I'm never going to really say no to Scarebok tankiness. I was debating on leveling, but this is just an NPC round, so I'm going to wait until the next level, or the next round. Wait till the next round, and then gain the interest for whatever I'm holding currently. See what we pick up. A legendary crate. Okay. Kinda like the Omega Power, given how strong Octius is right now. At the same time, attack damage and range. I have a few people that could absolutely use that. Field crate here, Hollow Stasis Reactor. You go here. I failed to level up in time, so I'm just going to accept my slowness and indecisiveness. And just capitalize on interest. And moved my units around, move my augments around, and I'm absolutely going to pay for it there. Jolo with a big last-ditch effort to stay in this game. Shuko is not going to be probably coming into play at all. I wanted to use Kukaraf, but I'm kind of far away from pulling that off, and Moo's got Kukaraf as well. Or not Kukaraf, but Kukaloose as well. So finding it at this low percentage is kind of rare. Mammoth isn't a terrible idea either, but here's Moo, a level ahead of me. Much as I want to just hold, I think in order to stay high, I need to get moved. Fill the hole, Archos. You go here. Ramphy, dive on the other side. Let's see how this goes. Still let the Familiar in there. I keep forgetting about the damn Tibiruko. See if the healing could keep me in the game. That charm actually saves my Octius. That Familiar was coming right after it. It's not going to be able to matter anyway, though. That's a strong squad here from Moo. Puka, actually. I'll hang on to that. In this instance, Gerudo still holds some of these other Scorioxes. Going to adjust the bunker setup a little bit here. Try not to make it as reachable as it once was. I actually probably should have kept Ibiruko away, or maybe this will work. Let's see. Okay, the shock does come down onto the Blazonite just as the Omega comes out with the Shock Blast. That was pretty good, but can we actually take care of this Riplance that is destroying my team right now? I still have the Lynx, I still have a little Ramphy, but it is going to end up falling, and everybody's starting to find their good stuff now. This is where my playstyle definitely starts to bite me in the rear a little bit. I love getting off to fantastic and good starts, but then, since I didn't save up as much in terms of economy, I tend to have a bit of a harder time. Moo again. Hey, actually, I wonder. Ramp fight is here. Flare. Flare. Okay. Trade. Cover. Cover. I think you can stay there for now. That's fine. Familiar in this instance should shoot past either into my Archos or into my Singed. It somehow threads the needle and goes directly towards my Periox. So this is going to hurt like hell. Yep, I absolutely deserve that. Ramp Fight is still doing some pretty decent work, but it doesn't have the backup to really deal with the Naruto or the rest of this squad. On the positive side, we've made the podium. But can we push further? Gerudo fallen. I mean, there is still the potential, and I'm going to hang on before I do anything because we are at an NPC round. I don't need to be rolling right now. I think maybe having my legendary onto the Riley is probably a bad idea. Especially with what I think I'm about to go for here. What do we get? A support crate for hexes. Mitigation. The immunity one. Let's go for it. Energy crate. What do you got? The engine. Okay. Let's do this. Okay, engine on to you. More Omega power given. Not you. Not you. You. Speed. Put Tibiruko there because it's T-Ru. Or its little cub is going to be able to hold the line for me. I do not have the speed to get this done. Not supposed to be looking for that. Where is Scoria? Not Scoria. Not you, not you, not you. Just Kukarath, that's great, but that wasn't even actually what I was looking for. Did they actually take all of the Pyres? Unreal. That is a lot of rolling and a lot of nothing at the same time. We will probably fall here. I was so concerned about rolling for a Scoriox, and I did not find anything. Did not find that last one. That will knock me out here in third spot. Good games, everybody. You. It be like that sometimes. That's irritating. I'm not sure if that would have made the difference. And I somehow got more points for third than I did for my second earlier. Must have just been considered a stronger lobby. But we will end up getting knocked out in this. Oh, that's funny. Too funny. Let's see how this goes. Will it let me? Alright, so to close things off here with this game, because these two are still fighting at it, we do have Rubik, and we do have Moo from Team Hype. We do have 6 Air Spore being played here by Moo. An awesome composition that I feel like a lot of people don't actually give the time of day. Meanwhile, inside of Rubik, we got the 6 Nature with Toxic and Wildfire, heavily reliant on the Bulwarks and Aegis to supercharge that Rip Lance that has the old Evasive Veil. The Omni Spark now is what it is called, but let's see how this one ends up going on down here. You do see the Vermiliair is completely held up by the Gnarl in the back line, so it is going to just be essentially shunted away. Speaking of shunted away, how about the Rip Lance being thrown all the way into the Polar Bear that actually gets a finishing blow there onto the Jotun? That's kind of a nightmare scenario, actually, here for Moo, as the rest of this red squad, including the Blazonite, is coming in up close and personal to try and deal with the rest of these. But look at this. The Spore, the air units are just dodging everything, and there is no augments in sight to try and actually hit these air units. It is so difficult, but they are slowly but surely going to be able to actually do that. Can the little Fur Knight Super Chicken in the bottom left seal the deal in this fight? One more good shot from that Familiar made it close, but now we are down to what I think is our final battle. Note, there could be one more if Rubik can handle this. It is right there. One more attempt here for Rubik. Let's see if they can knock Moo down a little bit. Of course, Moo's not in threat of elimination yet, but if they do manage to win this one, that is the kill shot. It will get the win here in this lobby. I can't remember if this is a new addition, but that is a fully loaded up Mamu right into the middle of the field. Jotun in a bit of a different position. The Enchanter buff's coming on through to try and keep this green squad alive. But as of right now, green's kind of getting melted. Rip Lance has not been touched, but neither has Jotun. They're going to eventually turn on it in just a moment's time, I'm sure. Vermiliair shot going to do some pretty decent damage, but it's going only into the tanks. One last ditch effort there for the Polar Bear, but of course the untargetable coming out there from that Omni Spark from the Rip Lance is doing absolute work. It got past the Jotun, and once again, Rubik is going to get the win here in this battle, and now this is the final battle. Rubik and Moo one final time. What is the answer here for Moo to try and turn us around, or can Rubik make the comeback The Rip Lance just has not been dealt with here on the side of Rubik. Aegis up by 3 different alluvials, maybe 2, because based off of the positioning I'm seeing here from Rubik's Blotto, I do feel like maybe that Aegis buff is actually going into the Archos, which could be a little bit problematic if that's not what they're trying to do intentionally. But what does Mu do here? We see a little bit more closer towards the left-hand side. The last-minute move there from Rubik to keep the Blazonite safe all the way on the right-hand side, being escorted by the Rip Lance as well as the Dordo. Familiar, once again, is just dealing with the Gnarl. It's basically useless at this point, just being held there. No more augments onto the Jotun right now, trying to move that over actually to a Dordo to try and keep the team alive. Rip Lance is right back at home, though, shredding through the backline. The Enchanters, the Dust, they're making this difficult, but they're not doing the damage necessary. Granted, the Rip Lance is being targeted. They do have the Omni Spark, though. It is going to end up going untargetable. But now, there's not much left. We do have the Vermilier. Does it get one more Omega off before it dies? It does not. And because that Omega did not come out, that burst damage doesn't come out. And that means that we have ourselves a winner here in this one. And that one is going to be Rubik. Even though it says first here for Mu. Oh, good on Rubik. Good comeback. Oh. Well, that was a fun morning here. Now that the internet issues stopped becoming problematic. Big thank you to everybody for tuning in. And also big shout outs again to Slooper for the raid earlier. Of course, TFT Pro and Coach, and now coming in to absolutely destroy here in Illuvium. Make sure, if you have not done so already, make sure you follow them as well. So again, big thank you for the raid, and thank you to all the newcomers that hopped on over and stuck around. Absolutely happy to have you here. I hope you had a great time. This is where I call things for the night, though, or for the day, rather. Got a bunch of video editing to do, and I still, of course, have some more videos to make, which, of course, maybe we have ourselves a new story to tell after the incredible reception and incredible feedback from the last video, which, again, thank you all for all of the positivity. It is a nice change to have such a warm, welcoming feeling here in anywhere, and this Illuvium community has brought that to me in high regard, and I cannot thank you enough. Of course, I personally stream every Monday and Wednesday as long as there is no sudden conflicts, and then of course you will see me on the weekend for the IPL commentary. I do believe this weekend we are covering semifinals as well as the grand finals, then on to Sunday. So a 2-day event. You'll get to see us twice for some incredible IPL 1000 action where the stakes, points, and the money is the highest. It will be a fun time. My last request, of course, by all means, if you've enjoyed yourself here today, because I do stream and upload rather frequently, I'd love to have you back. So whether it be subbing on YouTube or following on Twitch, I'd love it if you could. But that being said, that is the end of the road here for today. Thank you all once again. I will see you this weekend. Got a fun one, of course, once again coming up. And I will see you there.